Saudi blogger Raif Badawi could be beheaded for insults in Islam, faces retrial on apostasy charge. So here we go.
Raif Badawi, the Saudi blogger who was sentenced to a decade in prison and 1,000 lashes for insulting Islam, now faces being beheaded for renouncing the religion. Judges in Saudi Arabia criminal court want him to undergo a retrial for apostasy. If he's found guilty, he would face a death sentence. Apostasy, of course, is renouncing one's religion. In Mr. Badawi's case, it is Islam. Jose, this is really interesting for a lot of reasons. Well, first off, it's really sad. He's put in jail basically for writing on his very liberal blog, the Free Saudi Liberals. Basically, he was first sentenced to 10 years in prison and 1,000 lashes, and now they want to do a retrial and say that he's an atheist and he should be beheaded.
Whoa, that's harsh.
Yeah, I mean, to say the least. The 1,000 lashes alone is kind of a death sentence in itself. They gave him 50. They were going to do 50 a week, but they realized he wasn't really healthy enough. So they kept postponing the lashing, and they kept postponing it and postponing it. And in the process of doing that, the whole story got a lot of international attention all across the world. And a lot of people are coming out in a lot of different countries protesting in support of letting him free. Here's what his family had to say. Obviously, they're amongst those rallying for his freedom. Here's what they had to say. They said, "We call on the world citizens and the governments not to leave Raif dragged by such bigots to death. And we renew our calls to His Majesty King Salman to pardon Raif Badawi and allow him to leave for Canada to be united with his family there." So, Jose, it's 2015. We're still living in a world where you can be beheaded for saying what's on your mind and going against the government.
So there you have it. But he made a good point that it's nice to see all the protests going on throughout the world for Raif here, in places like Switzerland, UK, Canada, Poland, Italy, a lot of countries in the not only in the Middle East but also in Europe, and many other countries, of course. But I mean, like Raif, just a little plug here for Raif. He received the PEN Canada's One Humanity Award in October 2015. PEN, it was introduced in 2006. The award, valued at $5,000, is given to a writer whose work, quote, transcends the boundaries of national divides and inspires connections across cultures.
What was the date on that again?
That was October 2014.
Okay, yeah, because you said 2015. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to touch on real quick is I got a couple images here I want to show, and you guys can have at it, is basically the countries that currently have apostasy and blasphemy laws. Here's a couple images here. First image here is apostasy laws, and this is 2012. I understand it's a little old, but this is the Pew Research Center here. Pew Research analysis finds that as of 2012, nearly a quarter of the world's countries and territories, 22%, had anti-blasphemy laws or policies, and 1 in 10, 11%, had laws or policies penalizing apostasy. The legal punishments for such transgressions vary from fines to death. And here's the second image here. These are the countries that adhere to some sort of blasphemy law. Again, 2012, I understand it's a little old, but laws restricting apostasy and blasphemy are the most common in the Middle East and North Africa, where 14 of the 20 countries, 70%, criminalize blasphemy, and 12 of the 20 countries, 60%, criminalize apostasy. While apostasy laws exist in only 2 other regions of the world, Asian Pacific and Sub-Saharan Africa, blasphemy laws can be found in all regions, including Europe, actually. 16% of the countries.
I see Germany, Italy, and Ireland.
Yep, amazing.
And Poland,
what the fuck?
And to note that there's a criminal law.
Denmark, too.
Yeah, and Finland. There's a criminal code in Finland in term, quote, breach of religion. You can get penalty of fine or 6 months imprisonment. That's odd, man. So what do you guys think about this, man?
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna. I want to tie it in with our second story, but we haven't done our second story yet.
That's fine.
But it like how the majority of Republicans want to make America a Christian nation, and we're like, yeah, that's nuts that there's so many people that do that. But then we don't realize that there's studies out that say majorities of the population in certain countries, Muslim countries, think that apostasy is a crime and shouldn't, you should be killed for leaving Islam.
Yeah.
So, but at that level, it doesn't even matter if you're the one going out and doing the killing and shit.
Yeah.
If you support it,
Yeah.
you might as well be. Because
Absolutely.
I mean, when people are like, "Oh, the difference is that this guy isn't going out and killing people." Well, if he supports people in his group doing the same thing, then he might as well be. Because if you are okay with it and you are willing to not just stand by, but like cheer and totally support Christians going in and doing that, or Muslims or anything, then you are the fucking problem. And it's your groupthink that is really the issue. And it's disheartening to see that majorities in certain countries are majorities of certain groups, obviously, and sometimes those groups run the fucking country.
Yeah.
But
Mostly
they can be
theocratic
so
law.
misled and so ignorant, but they've all got each other's back with their ignorance and their bullshit. And so I guess they feel like they can get away with it.
On the U.S. Point real
Yeah.
quick, and I don't want to derail from the very seriousness of Raif here, Badawi. I don't want to, skew away from that too far, but and then Drew, you can go and Paul. I do think, and expand on what you said, TJ, is I do think most people would be very surprised and appalled by the laws that are currently, on the books in many states here in the United States. They need to be deleted. Okay, we need to really. A lot of these laws are very old. We understand that, but I'll give you a couple examples. Is for one, 43 of the 50 states confer some type of civil or criminal immunity on parents who injured their child by withholding medical care on religious grounds, and this includes religious exemption for vaccines.
How
in
many was that?
states also? 43 out of 50.
43?
Some kind. There's some kind of civil or criminal immunities. Okay, 43. I understand Young Turks came out saying 7 states, but that's a little bit more harsh. Those penalties.
Well, I'm saying that 43 and 7 makes 50. Are we sure we're not looking at the same statistics just wrong? If 47 or 43 states say blah and 7 states say blah, then
Well, I said confer.
my guess would be that they're the opposite blah.
Well, I said confer. Confer some type of civil or you might be right on that. We might have to look at that. You might be right on that. But what it boils down to is these insane laws are due to religion. We can't deny that they're due to religion. I understand many of these laws are of course old, but it takes an insane jury or an insane judge to either find you guilty or not guilty, depending on the circumstance. So, Drew.
I think those are all really good points so far. I was going to touch more on the situation with this guy is Raif. Am I saying that right?
It sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, from what I was looking up, and the video you just showed touched on this a little bit. So he was originally, in 2013, he was sentenced to 7 years in prison and 600 lashes. But then in 2014, they did a resentencing where it went up to 1,000 lashes and 10 years in prison plus a fine. And they plan on spreading, like the guy said, they're trying to spread these lashings out over like a 20-week period. And so far, he's already received 50 of those. So that means he has 950 more lashes to go, plus 10 years.
Yeah, that's if they don't retry him and decide just to chop his fucking head off.
Yeah, which is what they're talking about doing. I'm saying already this guy's already went through.
Yeah.
First off, you can imagine what it's like to be in prison in that part of the world anyways, let alone being in prison for what he's being in prison
and
for.
And not only that, living in fear, man, every day, walking on eggshells. I'm like, I can't imagine that. I just can't. We read the stories and we see what's going on, but just walking in their shoes, man, would be hard.
How tempted would you guys be to just be like, fuck it, I believe, I'm sorry. Sorry, I was just crazy for a minute there, but Allah has spoken to me again. Stop fucking whipping me, please. Let me go free. I promise I'm not going to try to escape from your crazy fucking country.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get out, you try your damnedest to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul, what do you got to say? Anything else?
It's okay. We're talking about Saudi Arabia, right? The country that we're buddies with over
allies,
there in the area. Yeah, allies. Good friends. The Bush family, good friends with the king that recently died, and then all that shit, right? But it's one of the worst fucking offenders in that area. They regularly kill people. They regularly execute people. They regularly fucking lash people. They crack down on activists. They don't tolerate dissent. They don't tolerate apostasy. They don't tolerate all this shit. They are one of the worst human rights violators in the area, but no one gives a fuck because because we're allies with them and they just cover it up.
I think Paul kind of touched on a very good point there.
It's a very good point. Very good point to make, Paul.
You know that I actually lived in Saudi Arabia when I was very young.
Yeah, you told me about that.
TJ was whipped and molested.
Well, actually, I was kind of molested. My dad told me a story about how, because we lived in an American compound. All the Americans lived in this compound with like 16-foot-high concrete walls all the way around it. And all the houses and like everything you needed was right there inside the compound. But you could leave the compound, just women couldn't drive and all kinds of shit like that. And my dad said there was a playground kind of by the front gate, and that some guy had just walked in like in full Arab garb, and I was playing and I was like running by him or whatever, and I was like, hi. And, just a tiny little kid. And he said, my dad was like, this dude just picked me up like I was his own kid, like kissed me right on the fucking lips, because that is in their custom. It's not like a gay or creepy thing, but
Whatever
dad.
you have to say, TJ.
Yeah. I don't even remember it. My dad had to tell me.
You like kissing older guys?
He's like, I realize it's their like culture and their custom. He's like, but it took everything in me not to run up and just sock the guy in the jaw. It's just a creepy thing to see a total stranger pick your kid up and kiss him right on the lips and shit like that. But it's like it is a show of affection, but in their culture, it's a little different. And remember, Bush was running around holding hands with the Saudi fucking king and shit like that. But then Obama like bent to tie down and tie his shoe or some shit, and they're like, he's bowing. He actually did bow.
True,
but that's also part of their fucking culture. God damn it, he would also bow to the Japanese prime minister because that's part of their culture. Nobody would be like,
holding hands is part of their culture too.
Yeah, it's all part of their culture. That's why I don't blame George Bush for that shit. But if you're gonna then turn around,
sure, your hair looks pretty. Don't worry.
Look at this, what Obama's doing or whatever, but you ignored it when Bush did it, and it can be shown to you. If you keep using that argument, then you are just a disingenuous, stupid fuck.
Correct.
Pretty much.
Well said. I'm like, that's why we do these types of topics and we discuss this type of stuff, because we have to support people like Raif here. And so do you guys. You guys are viewing right now. Share this on social media and just let's support these types of people that we have to start speaking more so about this type of
it's absolutely appalling
these atrocities.
Absolutely appalling that he would get this type of punishment for this shit. It doesn't hurt anyone what he's doing. Complete fucking horseshit.
It would probably get a lot more attention if his name was Beer, and so it would say free beer.
Yeah.
Right.
But unfortunately, he's just a normal he's a normal motherfucker with normal opinions, just like everyone else. And they're gonna they don't want to whip him to death, so they're gonna make him endure it over and over and over and over again until he gets 1,000 lashes. And he's been in prison.
Yeah. And they already
by
said
the way,
his
their
health
prisons. You think
take it.
ours are bad? Their prisons are bad.
And they already said his health can't take it. He was supposed to do 1,000 50 lashes each week. They did it once, and he's still recovering from it from back in January. He's not, like they said, he's not in good health. There's no way he could do that. That's just inhumane punishment.
Lashes is just not the word doesn't imbue what actually happens. You get your back gets just split open.
And exactly
50 of those will just tear your back up so fucking bad that it'll take you months to heal. And then they're just going to do it again.